Welcome to CTV News Year Canada. It is Tuesday, March 11th. We'll bring you profiles of fascinating Canadians and stories about your community. Thank you for watching.
It's an exciting week for Jillian Deslip, hosting family members from Windsor.
It's lovely because we don't get to see them very often, a couple times a year, so it's always nice when they can make the journey.
With March break here, Jillian is taking her daughter and the rest of the family to the Agriculture and Food Museum.
They're looking forward to the horses. I think they're just going to love it in general. They like animals altogether, so it'll be fun.
We know that people are looking for something fun to do while they're off of school and spending time with their families. So we have our regular activities going on. We always do demonstrations with the animals, cooking in the kitchen and things like that.
From meeting the animals to an interactive maple syrup production process and arts and crafts in between, museum staff say there is something for kids of all ages, including Jack Fiddler, who's been coming here since before he can even remember.
It's great to come back and have special memories, and even my grandmother shared that she used to come here in the 1950s, so it feels like we're continuing a tradition.
Some families enjoying the city for the first time.
We're looking forward to explore throughout the farm. We've been spending a couple of days in Ottawa, just been touring around, and this is on our way home, and excited to see it. We haven't been here before, so yeah, excited to see it all.
For the Deslips, they're here for the week, and Jillian says she's got a lot planned, enjoying every bit of their time together in the city.
We went skating yesterday. We're gonna go to Brockville tomorrow and do mermaid exhibit, and then Wednesday we're gonna do Maple Fest at Prue Farm.
The museum's March break programming runs until March 16th, giving families a chance to enjoy some fun-filled activities all week. Josh Morano, CTV News.
It's one of the busiest weeks for families each year. March break is a time full of family-friendly fun, full of attractions and activities.
Today we're just killing some time on March break, so we're able to go see the Raptors game tonight.
For underwater aquatic exploration, you can pop into Ripley's Aquarium downtown Toronto.
We've added new dive shows, like extra dive shows. We've done a scavenger hunt, and we extend our hours till 11 o'clock at night.
Where you can scope out your favorite sea creatures.
I like the sharks. Probably the stingray. I really like the piranhas. Probably like the hammerhead shark and the pufferfish.
Or hit up the ski hills at Lakewood Resort.
It's fun. Just like skiing down. Nice weather.
I feel like it's very warmer than it was. And because in the wintertime it was very cold, so this is kind of like a relief from the cold.
Or just enjoy getting out and soaking up the time with family and the sunshine.
Oh yeah, that helps a lot. The sunshine is great.
With a stellar forecast throughout March break, whether you're spending time inside, outside, downtown, or on a ski hill, there's no shortage of options for families. Jessica Smith, CTV News, Toronto.
Just your fingers. Just your fingers.
Looking at little William Sirac, you'd never know this happy, chubby-cheeked baby is fighting for his life.
He's the sweetest, perfect little boy.
But days after William was born, something was wrong. After being rushed to hospital, he was diagnosed with urea cycle disorder.
His liver is missing an enzyme, and he can't break down and process protein. So because of that, ammonia builds up in his blood, and that's very toxic, especially to the brain.
The condition primarily affects males, and the only cure is a liver transplant.
So you go on the transplant list with a score out of 40, so he's a 40 out of 40. Yeah, so he can't go any higher.
After testing family and friends with none being a suitable match, the hope is for a living donation from someone within the community. But because William is so small, the donor needs to meet specific requirements.
For somebody with an O blood type, it can be positive or negative. Anyone from the ages from 18 to 55. Obviously, the younger, the better, but as long as the liver's healthy, as long as the person's healthy, and ideally they're looking for somebody 70 kg or less.
William is receiving food and medicine every 3 hours to help him stay ready for a transplant.
Yeah.
Through all of this, parents Elizabeth and Mike say William's two big loves in life are dinosaurs and his big sister, Nat.
It is very difficult, but she definitely brings joy to him. He smiles every time she talks to him. Yeah, she's hanging in there the best she can too.
For now, the family is soaking up every moment while beating the odds one day at a time. And for anyone considering becoming a living donor, you can head over to our website, ctvnewskitchener.ca, where you can find more information. Tony.
A lot of people holding on to hope, I'm sure. Ashley, thank you so much for that. CTV's Ashley Bacon with that story.
The sun beams towards the production facility at Fort Rose Maple Syrup, southeast of Park Hill. Inside, the fire is hot and there is a sweet vapor in the air. With smiling faces eating up the product in the pancake house, it would seem all is fine in the maple syrup world. But
I'm concerned it's getting a little too warm.
While the sap is flowing thanks to rising daytime temperatures, syrup producers need overnight lows to remain below freezing to keep it that way.
To make the sap move in the tree, you got to have that freeze-thaw cycle. So when it freezes, the sap will actually go up the tree at night, let cool down, and then in the morning or the sunshine comes out, the sap will move down the tree. That's how you get your sap flows.
That's exactly what happened overnight, resulting in barrel upon barrel of maple syrup. Now, while the production rush is on now at Fort Rose, believe it or not, some sap actually moved back in February, but that is by far not the record. Just last year, some sap moved in January. It came as a shock after nearly 30,000 liters of maple syrup poured from the trees in 2022 and 2023.
It's all dependent on Mother Nature.
Although it is a product that sells itself, March break is a key time to draw people in. Many view maple syrup's arrival as the first sign of a new season.
We've got a blue sky, and maple syrup season has turned into spring.
This family is among the many pouring fresh syrup over pancakes.
I thought we'd come check out a sugar bush and see how the syrup's made.
It's the same story for 10-year-old June Moorish, but given it is her birthday, she didn't study the process too hard.
I know that it comes from trees.
And honestly, that's all customers want to know beyond the best part. It's good on pancakes?
Yeah.
So however they make it, it doesn't matter. You just want to eat it?
Yeah.
And with most of the Ontario supply consumed at home, the threat of tariffs on our sweetest export might not be a bad thing.
But I just look at it, more syrup for us. We'll keep it at home, keep it in Canada.
Near Park Hill, Sean Irvin, CTV News.
Throughout Regina, the whimsical work of Victor Cicansky is on display for people to both admire and remember the Saskatchewan-born artist.
He took a very unique approach to ceramics. He was always pushing those limits.
Cicansky died on March 3rd at the age of 90 after a life of creativity where he both taught art and made his own.
We made a trip to Regina to see this hotshot art teacher. And that's the first time I met Vic, and I thought he was the coolest guy.
Perot went on to become a student and eventually a friend of Cicansky's. The pair worked together on the Grow Regina Community Gazebo, which came to fruition in 2020.
Vic was a gift to the art community here because he did he actually did not have to go very far for his subject matter. It was right there in front of him.
In addition to those in the art scene, Cicansky's family remember him fondly.
I grew up in his art studio. I grew up a very colorful childhood around not just his ceramics, but his garden. And he brought a lot of life into the room himself and a lot of humor and color with his personality.
Tyler describes his uncle as a magician.
Looking at his artwork now, even it hasn't lost its magic. Even knowing how it was made and watching him my life, it's just more illuminated, I think, and emotional.
And thanks to a lifetime of artistry, pieces of Cicansky now live on for others to enjoy for years to come.
Always trying to bring something of nature, something of the land, something of food into his work. He was a passionate environmentalist.
Hallie Mandrick, CTV News, Regina.
Well, think about what it would be like to get on the ice with a high-performance athlete. That's what these kids got to do today at the East Calgary Twin Arenas. They took to the ice with Elage Balde, who is retired from the sport now but used to compete for Team Canada. Balde has teamed up with Icy Hot and Kids Sport to teach these kids skating skills and to inspire them to chase their dreams.
I remember being a kid and stepping on the ice for the first time and just being excited and developing love for this sport that I am now a part of for over 25, 30 years. And so I think being around kids is an important part of what I do, because I hope to inspire them to believe that they can be figure skaters as well.
I really want to maybe have a chance to go to a championship or like Worlds or to the Olympics. It would be my dream to even participate in it.
When I grew up, sport was not that expensive. All kids who wanted to play could play, but that's changed. We live in a user-paced society. We can't change that, so that's what I like about kids sport, is that we're a solution to that, to help with the registration fee for those families that can't afford it, because we just think that all kids that want to play sport should be playing.
They're already allowed on the metro. Now, the city's opposition party wants dogs on buses too.
We know that there's a lot of Montrealers, they don't live around the metro stations, and there's like a huge network of buses in Montreal. So we have to accommodate these people.
In 2022, Montreal City Council voted to allow dogs onto the metro as a pilot project. And following that success, the STM allowed dogs to ride for most of the day. Now, Ensemble Montréal and Montreal SPCA say extending the rule to apply to buses is the next step.
It's fairer for everyone because currently it's only people who can afford to take a taxi or have a car that can bring their dogs along with them when they go on outings.
If allowed, the rules will remain the same. 1 dog per owner. Dogs would not be allowed on during rush hour. They must be on a leash and they need to be muzzled.
I don't really have a problem as long as the dog is well behaved.
As long as the dog is well trained, then I think they should be allowed on the bus.
I'm for dog ownership, and I understand dogs have to get around the city just like everybody else, and it's really not affordable to take taxis or other kinds of transportation. But I do worry about people on buses that are really nervous of dogs.
Other cities like Toronto and Calgary already allow dogs on buses. Sophie Gaillard says there are benefits when dogs and humans share spaces.
Actually allowing dogs more access to public spaces decreases the risk of bite incidents, for example, and so it enhances public safety.
While dogs and carriers and service animals are already allowed on the bus, the STM told CTV News they're not completely on board with the idea, pointing to financial and social concerns, adding, the STM must prioritize service delivery and safety. We want to improve and stabilize our performance indicators related to overcrowding, cleanliness, and safety before considering this measure. Ensemble Montréal will present the motion at next week's City Council meeting. The mayor's office declined to comment as the motion has not yet been presented. Sweeta Rassi, CTV News.
With around 500 titles from 200 Atlantic Canadian authors, the Right Cup Bookstore Cafe is turning both pages and heads.
We're so proud of the Atlantic Canadian talent that we have. We want to get as much of these books into as many people's hands as we can.
The newly opened cafe, located in Market Square, only sells East Coast books, some written by authors as young as 9 years old.
We had workshops last week for 5 to 10-year-olds and then 12 plus, so it's very much a community building and a supporting local, because those kids are going to get in here and they're going to be writing their books.
St. John Children's author Carolyn Harris will have her The Garden Cruise series on the shelves in the near future, and has long wished for a store to exclusively promote the talent of Atlantic Canadians.
It's a dream actually come true, and I'm not even exaggerating. I'm just so excited that this is here in St. John.
It's not just the local books and authors attracting attention.
Very important question. How's the coffee?
It's delicious.
Residents are excited for a new hangout option uptown that isn't a restaurant or bar.
I just love it here, and I think it's wonderful that we have this place that features Atlantic literature.
I like that it's like uptown because I love going like uptown and stuff.
The cafe is the latest addition to Market Square, which in recent months has seen more vendors come in and less vacant storefronts.
The fact that we got our feet in just before it started so that we'll be here so nobody else can take our niche. So we're very proud of that.
We both remember what it was like here in the 80s and 90s because we went to high school right down the street, and we're hoping that kind of comes back.
A new chapter the Right Cup is eager to be a part of. Ava McRae, CTV News, St. John.
A Ukrainian filmmaker is combining his love of pierogies and pucks by shining a spotlight on hockey players with Ukrainian backgrounds.
They called my dad Yuki all the time. It just stuck on him, and everywhere he went, it was Yuki, because of his Ukrainian heritage.
The most Ukrainians outside of Ukraine and Russia live in Canada.
The documentary is called Yuki, The Untold Story of Hockey Legends. The Canadian premiere is underway tonight at Ford Hall in Rogers Place. It explores the Ukrainian roots of some of hockey's biggest names, including Wayne Gretzky. The film's director was on CTV Morning Live earlier today.
We did our own investigation, and we have found more than 50 Ukrainians became Stanley. That's a lot. That's why my goal was to show this story for the big international audience.
Sports broadcaster and former NHL goalie Kelly Rooy will host a Q&A with the film's director.
Plans to redesignate this land are more than decades in the making.
The funding has been secured, and we will have an open Ojibwe National Urban Park this year.
On Saturday, Minister responsible for Parks Canada, Stephen Guilbeault, reaffirming a federal commitment, $36 million over 5 years and an additional $4.6 million annually to create and operate the Ojibwe National Urban Park.
Parks Canada is known internationally, so people will come from Canada and people will come from all over the world to visit this unique urban site.
Once designated, Ojibwe will join Toronto's Rouge National Urban Park as the only two of this kind in Canada.
It's another corroboration of the things that have led to this moment, but we still need legislation.
Windsor West MP Brian Massey's private member's bill seeking to create the park remains stalled in a Senate committee. The park doesn't require legislation, but Massey says it paves the way for one complete park.
The legislation creates the framework of the legal agreement that would then bring the City of Windsor and the federal government under the umbrella of law that then protects the land forever.
His bill won't see any movement until Parliament's possible return later this month, and in the event an election is called, Guilbeault says the announced funding will secure the park's future. Robert Lothian, CTV News.
After arriving in Sudbury as a refugee a year ago, Majid Nasser volunteered at Closet Share and is now doing an internship. He wanted to give back to the nonprofit that helped him.
When we came here, we didn't have any clothes. Most of our clothes were stolen at the airport in Africa. So when we came here, it was super cold for us because we are from tropical countries. Closet Share help us with clothes, like right now the clothes I'm wearing.
Closet Share accepts clothing donations from the community and then offers them free online. It supplies many nonprofits in the community that help people in need. Melissa Porter came up with the concept and launched it in 2022.
So Closet Share is a local nonprofit organization. We take in clothing donations and then we wash and sort them, and then they go onto our website. So everything is being modernized onto our website into 2 different tiers where everybody has access to free clothing items or brand name items for a very low cost.
Porter says the clothing that is sold helps pay for operating costs. She says the washing machines and dryers at Closet Share wear out very quickly.
They are just old washers and dryers, so if anybody has any that they want to donate, we'll always accept those. It's really important to us to alleviate the textiles from ending up in our landfills by recycling, repurposing everything.
Porter says March of Dimes volunteers are the heartbeat of the organization, as the need for free clothing is increasing in the community.
It was just really important to me to make sure that everybody had access to it, including like kids, teenagers, and parents for that matter, that everybody had access to clothing. It's a need, it's not a want at this point, right?
Closet Share is located in the basement of the old Diocese building on St. Anne Road, but the only access is at 162 Mackenzie Street. For anyone who may be doing some spring cleaning, there's a donation bin at the front door. Alana Everson, CTV News, Sudbury.
Visual artist George Glenn's show, Looking Through Time at the John V. Hicks Gallery, has been in the works since the 1970s. He just didn't know it until recently.
I hadn't imagined that my work would be shown, all of my work could be shown here, but I was very pleased about it.
When Glenn first moved to Prince Albert in 1975, it was for a year-long residency supported by the Saskatchewan Arts Board, which is now known as SK Arts.
We realized that we were coming up on the 50th anniversary of George's artist residency in Prince Albert. So the ball started turning and we started thinking about what might be done to acknowledge that 50th anniversary.
I hadn't planned to spend 50 years here. I hadn't planned for 50 years, period. But it just worked out that it was a great place to live.
Decades of work had started to take up space in Glenn's personal studio.
The wall's kind of coming closer on me, so I knew I had to do some review of all of this.
His paintings, drawings, and installation pieces are changed out every Monday according to weekly themes. Glenn says he draws inspiration from everyday life.
50 years sounds a really long time, but it's gone by so fast. Sort of a warning to all. Do what you want now.
The show opened on March 1st and will remain open until April 23rd. Jasmine Pelche, CTV News, Prince Albert.
Before his life changed for the better, James Taylor was out fishing when the weather took a turn for the worse.
The thunder and the lightning started rolling in.
And after they arrived back on shore, James says he was struck by lightning.
I had this flash in my eyes because I couldn't see for a second. But in that flash was this pain that I'd never, ever experienced before in my life.
James says he died momentarily before coming back with a perspective that's enduring.
How precious life is.
Plus a renewed commitment to use his second chance at life to share the stories and knowledge he'd learned as a child.
We have our words, we have our actions, and that speaks to who we are.
Not only did James start working as an Indigenous educator in local schools, he began inviting strangers who were alone over the holidays to his home for dinner.
And I felt so much love and so much acceptance, and I know that our world needs that right now.
So James decided it was time to walk across the country again. Although he had previously done it to raise awareness about the murdered and missing and residential school survivors, this would be different.
We need to do something positive and bring some positivity.
So, with a backpack that includes clothes to encourage kindness and traditional instruments to encourage healing, James is preparing to walk from Mile Zero in Victoria to Parliament Hill in Ottawa to visit old friends and make new ones with the goal of building community and spreading love.
And put in the good words, too, that we don't hear, that we are deserving of good things, that we are loved, all that stuff that we need to hear more. Even like I said, if we heard it 1,000 times as a child, we need to hear another 1,000.
Well, James's journey is more than 4,000 kilometers, according to the map app on his phone, which will take about 4 months to complete. You can't quantify how challenging it'll be for him and how inspiring he hopes it is for others.
Do something bigger than yourself, Not everybody's going to walk across the country, but get out of your comfort zone to bring yourself a smile.
And in whatever way you can, strive to be a positive bolt of lightning in your own life.
I can do it, and if I can do it, anybody can do it.
Adam Sawatsky, CTV News, Victoria.